So you clicked on this video because you're thinking of moving from California to Northern Virginia. Well, stay tuned because I'm going to break down the pros and cons of moving from California to Northern Virginia from a Californian who is now transplanted to Northern Virginia. Hi everyone, it's Laura Griffin with Pearson Smith Realty. Some of you also know me as the Loudoun Mom. I'm a top selling real estate agent in the Loudoun County area, and I'm originally from California. I grew up in Northern California, just outside of Sacramento. I would spend my summers going to Lake Tahoe and going down to the Bay Area to San Francisco. Most of my family lives in Southern California. And then the other half of my family lives in Northern California. We've been there since, the 1850s. They came over when the gold rush. And so about 10 years ago, my husband got a job transfer with the government and we moved out to Northern Virginia. So I'm going to kind of break down the pros and the cons of both because I've lived in both. I lived in Northern California my whole life. And then in the Northern Virginia area for the last 10 years. We lived in Charlottesville for a little bit, which is just outside of the DMV. And then we've lived primarily in actually all of Loudoun County. So we've lived in a couple different zip codes in the last 10 years inside of Loudoun County because I'm a realtor, so I like to move. So my husband calls it I'm a house addict and I like to move quite a bit. So my husband was former military, retired, and he got a job out here. So we moved. And some of the biggest differences I'm going to break down for you because I hear a lot of times, especially this past year, I've actually had 5 clients move from California out to Northern Virginia. And they've all been out of the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and things like that because we have a huge, some people do call us the Silicon Valley of the East Coast. I believe it was 78% of the world's internet comes through Loudoun County. So we have a lot of data centers. We have Amazon Web Services. We have Google's out here, Microsoft, AOL used to be out here. And then Verizon has a huge campus that has been converted now over to other technology companies. And then CBP, Customs Border Protection, has their big technology hub now. They've taken over the old Verizon Center in Loudoun County off Loudoun County Parkway. So a ton of opportunities if you're in the tech space, because we have a lot of those large corporations have come here kind of as their East Coast hub. So let's break down some of the differences. And I think the biggest one for my kids has been, and for me, is the weather. So I grew up in Northern California, and so we had all 4 seasons, but here it's just a little bit different. So the spring is still kind of a mix between rain and sun and all that good stuff. The summer is a little bit different. So we were back in Sacramento this summer. It was 111 and my family was like, oh, it's so hot. Like, okay, let me tell you about hot. Northern Virginia can be, like 95, 100 degrees, but it's like 90% humidity. 90% humidity. So your hair will not look like this if you have curly hair like I do. It kind of gets all crazy. And it is this weird, sticky, just disgusting heat. You walk outside and you feel like you're taking a shower. Like it's just sticky. So out there, it's like a dry, deserty heat. Here it is a sticky, humidity, just disgusting heat. Disgusting heat, I guess is the way you would call it. Now, it's not the whole summer that we get this, but I would say primarily it's like July. That's like the worst bit of it. But we fluctuate between like at the 80s, 90s, a few days into 100, usually in July, or maybe like the first week or so of August. But it's still comfortable. And then we still get rainstorms. So we'll get like rainstorms in the afternoon. Or just kind of throughout, which is what kind of is nice though, because it makes it more lush and green here. Everything is green. We went back to California in June, and my kids thought the hillside, we took them down to the Bay Area. We went to the Jelly Belly factory, and on the way, there's a lot of hills. And my daughter thought they were sand because it was brown. I was like, that's grass. It's not sand, it's grass. So there's a little bit of a difference. Here it's rolling green. We do get it, my grass turns a little brown, but not bad. Kind of goes dormant, but we get so much rain and then we get so much sun that it just keeps growing. In the fall, you get, right now when I'm filming this, it is mid-September. So today it's very rainy. I think we're gonna get about an inch of rain today in the next 2 days. And so but it's 80 degrees. So we're kind of in that last cusp or so of summer where we're starting to turn fall because we're in the 50s at night. We're in the 70s-ish, maybe touching 80 during the day, which is so nice. It's very refreshing. And then we kind of get into October. I say once we hit Halloween, we start to turn a little bit and it's going to be colder during the day. So like 50s or 60s. And then as we get into winter, we have, again, there's going to be snow. So be prepared. You do need snow boots, rain boots, a good jacket. I was never an Ugg boot type person, but I'll tell you, when you're at the bus stop and it's 0 degrees on those rare few mornings, totally like an Ugg boot person. And there's ice storms, so you have to be prepared. I get asked, do I need a snow blower? How bad's the snow? I say we get like 1 to 2 good snowstorms a year. We do have a snow blower, just a battery, right? I think it's Ryobi or something, just a battery one, and it does the job. We're not digging out, feet of snow. It's not that bad. Usually it's between like 3 to 6, maybe 12 inches of snow. It's not bad. Here in the Northern Virginia area. If you're closer into the district, they get a little less snow because the city air, I don't know why, but the city is a little bit warmer than us. If you're in like Western Loudoun, you may need to consider getting some sort of a snow blower or something like that, because you do get a lot more snow. You're on the cusp of the Blue Ridge. You're kind of touching the West Virginia area, and it's colder there. If you come in from Western Loudoun, so Western Loudoun would be like Percival, Round Hill, Berryville, Hamilton, and Lovettsville, some outer skirts of Leesburg, like Luckett's area, closer to Maryland, like Point of Rocks. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit more snow. If you're in more like Central Loudoun or Dulles South, like I am in Aldie, it's not as bad. And the one thing to be prepared with is if Western Loudoun gets a few inches of snow, but we don't here in Aldie, they'll still close down the schools because of the school district. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So we do get all 4 seasons. Fall is my favorite because fall will fix everything. And the leaves are really pretty. I like the pumpkin patches, all that stuff. Summer is hot, but we don't see a lot of 110 days, but yet when it's like 90 something and 90% humidity, it's going to be hot. So weather is definitely a little bit of a difference coming from California. The next is gas prices. So recently we went back to California and I was surprised at the gas prices. I know you guys have a higher gas tax there. I think it's a little over 30 cents a gallon or something like that. So like right now, I was speaking with my sister-in-law and she said that gas was just between like $4.50, somewhere in that range, depending on what gas station you're going to. Our gas here is still in the mid 2s. If you're doing like premium, you might be touching 3. So there's a huge difference in gas prices. So if you don't have a Tesla or an electric car and you do have a gas car, then you are going to see a little bit of a savings because you're not having to pay the high gas taxes that you have in California versus here. So there will be a little bit of savings with buying gas. So car expenses. So gas will be cheaper here than in California. But where you pay a little bit more is where I'm going to explain. And that is in California, every year you pay to register your car and you get your tags. Here you still have to get your tags. I think it was like $100 and something to get our tags renewed for the year. Plus we paid a $25 fee to the county to house our car in the county for the year. Yeah, $25. So, well, you guys are paying, probably like $300-400 for your tags. So there's a little bit of savings there. But Virginia has this great thing called personal property tax. Exciting, right? Personal property tax. And it's based on the age of your car. It's based on the mileage of your car. So if you drive a lot of miles, like my husband drives into DC every day, and it's just at 50 miles one way. So he's 100 miles a day. So his car would qualify for being I think it's a high mileage car, or going over like excessive use. I think it's excessive use. So he pays a little bit less, but twice a year in June, and it's November or December, but you pay the personal property taxes. On one of our cars last year, it was $300 each time. So about $600 a year. This year we got new cars. My new car. It was $800 the first payment. The second payment was $8 something too. So it was like $1,600 extra this year that I paid for one car. Personal property tax. And yes, I paid tax on the car when I bought the car, because everyone always like, oh, but I did, but I pay every year the tax to the county for personal property. And then I pay the $25 fee because the car's sleeping here and housed here. So we do get you on personal property taxes. So again, it depends on the age of the car, how new the car is, how many miles the car has. So like this year, the car my husband drives will not be new. And so we will file for the excessive mileage because he does drive it a lot. He still only commutes a few days a week, but there's still extra mileage there on his car. So car expenses, gas is cheaper, but you do pay for personal property tax. And if you have a Tesla, so we have a Tesla. If you have a Tesla, you do pay a little bit more in your taxes because you're not paying, we do have a little bit of gas tax. You are not going to be paying that at the pump every day. So they do charge you a little bit more too for that. So just be prepared for that. The other thing we have here, which if you're coming from the Bay Area or Southern California, you definitely have toll roads. We have them here. So through Loudoun, it's called the Greenway. Some people call it the Dulles Toll Road. It's broken up into two sections. And there's a big toll right as you're crossing up the Loudoun County into Fairfax line. So you pay the main toll. Right now it's $5.75 to go through the main toll booth. So if you want convenience and commute time to be cut down a little bit, you take the toll and you pay the $6. I call it $6, round it up, $6. And that's each way. There's also other tolls on 95 and 267, which is the Greenway, the toll road, whatever you want to call it. I call it the toll way because it's the toll road. And then you will pay like $1.50 here or $1 there to get off. And then there's also 66 has Fast Pass. So if you have enough people in your car to count as carpooling, then you don't pay. But if you don't during peak hours, it can be anywhere from, wait for it. The cheapest I've seen is a few dollars. I think it was like $3 or $4. But the other day, or a couple weeks, I think it was a couple weeks back, it was on the news. It was like $65 to take 66 into the district. So if you're coming from Prince William, Fairfax County, from Vienna in, it was $65 on the tollway. So definitely getting an easy pass, having other people commute with you can save you some money because you can click over to HOV and write express lanes, which doesn't charge you. But definitely there are toll roads around here and some have peak time. So sometimes I'm like out showing houses, I'm like, I gotta get back because I don't want to pay the peak time tolls. I don't want to pay $65 to get home and I want to take side streets. So definitely having that, just factor in there's some tolls. So gas tax, a little bit less, but we get you on the personal property tax and we have some toll roads. So ways will become your best friend if you want to kind of skirt some of the toll roads. The next is food costs. So growing up in Northern California was very fortunate, right? A lot of the food that we eat here in Northern Virginia is grown there. So here you're going to pay a little bit more for food. And if you think about it, I always got to start off with, I don't know why, but I love avocado. I could have guacamole every day of my life. And my son is the same way. In fact, my husband, I'll put it on anything. I put it on sandwiches, anything I could put avocado on, I will put it on. My husband says, oh, it's like nature's it's what you think it is. It's like nature's mayonnaise. It's like anything mayonnaise going on avocado. I was like, yes, I love it. But what I hate is paying for it. And one avocado here is about $1.79 to $3 for one avocado. And we can't grow avocados here in the backyard. I've thought about it. I need an avocado tree, like I used to have. But we were back home, and my daughter happened to see the ad that came for Rayleigh's, and she was like, they're so cheap here. I was like, yeah, it was like 79 cents, 99 cents. And so the food costs are a little bit more. Like strawberries, if we get the Driscoll's like 2-pound box, usually is what they're usually. Sometimes you get the 1 pound, but usually the 2 pound one. Those are like $8.90, not organic either. They're like $8.99, $6.99. When it's like, sometimes I can find it for $4.99 or $5.99. I'm like, it's so exciting. If I could say that right, so exciting. So definitely, because they are grown there and they're shipped here, it's a lot more expensive. So you will pay for more for food costs, definitely, because a lot of things are getting shipped here. And then, yeah, so food costs. The other thing here, we do have some higher taxes on like prepared foods at the grocery store. So if you get sushi, like my favorite store here is Wegmans. So they have sushi and pizza and sandwiches, Chinese food. Sometimes they have a Mexican bar open, a few other things. If you get their pre-prepared dinners, which, hello, convenience, you pay a higher food tax on those items. So there's like a prepared food tax. There is taxes on groceries too. So, you know, that's kind of thing. So food costs are higher because you're paying for things to be shipped here, and higher like produce costs. I think, in my opinion, things like cereal, cookies, like the norm, like canned food and stuff, is still the same cost. Like I don't really see that big of a difference. It's really the produce. And some of the meat costs are a little bit higher too. I know COVID's kind of skewed things a little bit still, but definitely the fruit costs and vegetable costs are completely different here than it is there. So the other thing too is when you buy canned things like sodas and bottled water and all that, you're also not paying CRV, so you don't have the CRV fee. So that saves you. I know you can turn in your cans and things there, but that's one difference. So while we do recycle here, you don't get paid to turn in recyclables, so you can save a little bit money on your CRV fee. So while we're also talking about food costs, let's talk about sales tax. So our sales tax is still significantly lower here. Right now it's about 5%. Versus back home, I think it was like 7, 8, 9 cents or something. So definitely sales tax, you will save money here when you buy things like clothes and shoes and stuff like that. We also have tax-free weekend, which is really cool. It's usually around when school starts. It's usually in August. And they will have tax-free on appliances like energy efficient or Energy Star energy efficient appliances. Batteries and things for hurricane preparedness season, like flashlights and stuff, clothes, shoes, school supplies, a few other things. So we do have tax-free weekends, so that is really cool. But definitely the sales tax, you'll save a few cents here or there. Also, we don't have a bag tax. So when you go to Target, if you forget your, like I kept doing, if you forget your bag, you don't have to pay for it. They'll give you a bag here. So there's no bag tax. There is cheaper sales tax. So you'll save a little bit there. Although, you know, it's kind of, I think roughly though, I still think like prices for things are still pretty comparable though. I mean, I didn't see when we were there, we did do a little bit of shopping, but I didn't see a big difference between, you know, buying a pair of shoes there versus buying a pair of shoes here. So it's all pretty much the same. But if you can wait until the summer to buy your back to school stuff, you can wait until like August, then you will save a little bit of money with the tax-free weekend. I mean, you're going to save that. Or if you want to drive, you can drive about, it depends on which area, but 2 to 4 hours to Delaware. They have no sales tax. So if you really want to hit up some outlet shopping, you can go up there and you can save, if you're going to buy something big, you can definitely go up there and save quite a bit of money if you want to do tax-free. So I'm a realtor, so I wouldn't be a video about moving from California to Northern Virginia without talking about housing prices, right? And the cost of prices of homes. So let's break down, let's just say the Bay Area, because I think that's where a lot of people are coming from. The house prices and the difference is going to be, there you're paying over $1 million, close to it, for a single family home, probably in that like 1,900 to 2,500 square foot range. Usually it's 1 story, possibly 2, quarter acre-ish. Here, for that, let's just say 1 million, you could buy a single family home with 3,500 square feet on the top 2 floors. And what that means is above grade. So above grade would be your top 2 floors. Sometimes you get a 3rd floor like loft. And so it'd be 3,500 square feet, plus you get a basement here, which is different. So in Northern Virginia, we do excavate underneath and you get a basement, and it's either walk up, which means you would leave your basement in ground and you'd walk up a couple stairs, or walk out, which means your basement, the top of your house is going to be like this, and the basement kind of goes down at an angle, and you would walk out of your house, out of your basement at the ground level. So that is one advantage, is that if you take your top floor of your house, not counting the garage because we don't excavate under there, but if you take the top floor of your house, say it's, 1,800 square feet, you're getting a basement with a rec room, usually a bathroom, possibly another bedroom, some storage, and it's 1,800 square feet. So you're getting like 1,800 square feet more of a home. So where you're getting maybe 2,500, let's just say 2,500 square feet for $1 million. Here you're getting 3,500 square feet on the top 2, plus let's just say 1,000 in the basement. You're getting 4,500 square feet. So for the same price, you're getting a much bigger house, and sometimes more land. So there are some neighborhoods, it depends on the neighborhood, but you're getting between a quarter, a third, a half. If you go out to like Western Loudoun, you can get acreage and other things, but you got to be careful because the internet might be an issue out there. They have not dragged some of the fiber out there. So depending on the neighborhood, but definitely housing costs are a little bit cheaper here. Property taxes are a little bit cheaper here as well. I was looking at a house in Roseville, California. We had looked while we were out there. I went through some new construction neighborhoods just to kind of get my hands around what was going on. And they had a 2-story new construction house, and it was at 1.1, and it had an in-law suite, which was really cool, attached. And the property taxes, from what the sales rep told me, was gonna be $13,000 a year. Here, on a $1 million house, you're probably at between $7,200 and $8,500. So there is a little bit of significant savings there. Most of our homes here are in an HOA, so where there you may not pay an HOA fee and just have CC&Rs. Here you will most likely have an HOA, but it comes with some pluses. So you may not only have like a tot lot and trails, which you could have there, but you're also having some common area events, pools, sometimes multiple pools. So there is some pluses and minuses because here, I think that's another big thing, is here we don't have, COVID has changed things a little bit, but you don't have a lot of people that have pools. And if you do, you have to have a big lot, and there just aren't many pool contractors. And I get this asked a lot, well, I want to add a pool. Like, okay. And I said, well, have you looked into what the cost is back home? Yeah, it's about 50 to, high end, like 100,000. Here, right now, for a pool is about $200,000 to $350,000. So it's a significant cost. There's not a lot of contractors that do it. There are some that will do it cheaper, but you get what you pay for. And you may have some issues with the county and engineering and permitting and all that stuff. So pool costs can be really high. So you can get a bigger house for a comparable price. In some cases, more land, less property taxes, but you're going to give up a pool. You could add it, or you can just go to the community pool. But the other thing to keep in mind about the pool, so I've got this question a lot lately, is you only can really use it Memorial Day to Labor Day, unless you heat it, but it's very expensive. So you'd have to get propane or pull the gas line up. So really, so let's say June, July, August, you're really only using it 3 to 4 months a year. So the cost of it, if it's $200,000, I don't know if that's really going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Plus you have to winterize it and do all these things. So the nice thing about having the HOA is, yes, you may be paying $100 on the high end. There's some neighborhoods that are like $300 a month. $200 a month, $210, $250. But you're getting access to sometimes multiple pools and other things. So they spread out the cost. At the end of the day, it probably would be a wash if you put in a pool and lived in the same house for 20 years. But, you're letting someone else take care of the maintenance and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So definitely housing is cheaper. So my last thing about what is the difference between moving from California to Northern Virginia is no in and out. Like, I miss it. I hate that there is there's 2 things. I hate that there's no in and out here, and it drives me crazy. And everyone says, oh, Five Guys is so much better. It's okay. And I know I'm going to get some hate mail for it. But Five Guys is not In-N-Out Burger. Like, I miss it so much. Like, when we go home, we always take a direct flight on United from Dallas. And we'll land, it's like 8 o'clock-ish, that California time. And I'm like, oh, In-N-Out still open. Let's go. In-N-Out, In-N-Out. And we have to go to Natomas. We have to have In-N-Out as soon as we get off the plane, because I'm always really hungry. And I'm like, we're going In-N-Out, and we're going to just milk this while we're here. So that is one thing. The other thing I find is I miss getting like tamales for Christmas, and I miss getting like really good Mexican food. And not like Tex-Mex or anything like that, but like, I don't know, it's just different. So it's really hard to find here. So those are the two things that I do miss. I do miss In-N-Out, and I do miss getting like tamales at Christmas and making them with friends, and like the really good Mexican food. That's the other thing I always get when I go there. It's like, I have to have my really good Mexican food, because here it's a little bit, I don't know, it just isn't the same. And I can't, like, you can't get like street tacos, and we do have food trucks in DC, but it's just not the same. So definitely no In-N-Out. It's so hard. So to break it down for you, what are the differences for moving from California to Northern Virginia? Taxes, food costs, car costs, housing costs, what else did the seasons, and no In-N-Out Burger. So if you have any questions about moving to Northern Virginia area, I'd be happy to be a resource for you. My email is below, and my phone number is 571-354-7325. I'm happy to answer any of your questions about relocating to the Northern Virginia area. I've done it myself. I've helped a number of clients. And if you're just even trying to explore, like you want a change of pace and where to move, be happy to even explore some of your options of moving. Maybe Northern Virginia is not the right fit, but Maryland or Southern Virginia or DC, anywhere in the DMV area, I'd be happy to hook you up and kind of talk a little bit about the pros and cons of moving to Virginia. So again, it's Laura Griffin with Pearson Smith Realty, and I hope you have a great day.